On Spotlight this week, it's broadcaster Lorraine Keane. She's glam, she's grounded, and she's Ireland's biggest powerhouse. Please welcome to Spotlight my dear friend, Lorraine Keane.
The pressure, no pressure. The friend bit I'll definitely take.
Yeah, no, but glam and grounded, absolutely. Always
Thank you.
glam.
Well, not always glam, no. People know on my Instagram know that sometimes I actually go on and I go, okay, don't get a fright. This is me without makeup. Yeah,
I've never seen you, and I think actually just to kickstart, we'll touch back on it. But I remember, when you showed me your wardrobe for the first time, I was in awe. I never knew people had walk-in wardrobes. I mean, that's going way back when, around 2007, 2008, and then of course, I just wanted all your boots and your shoes and your jewelry and everything.
The high shoes that I really rarely wear now since COVID.
I hear
terrible.
you. Look, I'm on flats today as well. No, it's such.
But at least one of my children has the same size feet as me. So she'll inherit, Romeo will inherit all of my shoes. Poor Amelia. Amelia was already a size bigger than me when she was 14 because I'm only a size 3.5 to 4. So I have little miniature feet. Wow. I always say I've got full stops at the ends of my legs.
Well, listen, I am so thrilled that you said yes to come on because I feel like we know each other so well, but to do a chat, we haven't done something like that other than over coffee or over a couple of glasses of wine.
Yeah.
For sure. But, you've been so busy all the time and, your career is very much focused on health and wellness now, which is such a joy to see because you really champion women and I love that. Yes. I find that you're probably one of the most inspirational and empowering women in Irish media now that champion women and what we do. And right now, I suppose you've spoken over the last few years about perimenopause, the first celebrity in Ireland and in the United States, am I right in saying?
And the UK, yeah. And before Davina, yeah.
In 2016, I think you started. Yes, is that right?
Yeah,
so just tell me about that journey.
2015, so 10 years now. And I kind of, because of coming out and sharing my own personal experience, journey, hormonal journey.
Thank God you did.
I know, but because I kind of fell into the kind of wellness and women's health area because of that, because it's about our health. And we need to look after ourselves and look after our health to be empowered, and stop feeling guilty about minding ourselves because women are great about minding everybody else. And for some ridiculous reason, especially Irish women, we feel guilty if we take time for ourselves. But because I'd suffered in silence for so long, not knowing that I was in perimenopause and went down the whole fertility journey as well with IVF, and sure, I found out later I hadn't a hope of conceiving with IVF because my hormones were so imbalanced because of perimenopause. Right. Had I got that sorted first, maybe I could have had more children. Now, I'm not complaining because I count my blessings every day for my two healthy girls. Yeah. But myself and Peter would have liked to have more children and it didn't happen. And then I just thought, you know what? You're always saying, support each other. Women need to support each other. And I'm a woman's woman. And you have this information. And even though it's really, really scary to share it, because 10 years ago, nobody was saying the word menopause publicly. And especially in the business that we're in, I remember having a chat with you and a couple of our mutual friends in the business and saying, God, really though? Because if you say you've perimenopause, menopause,
you'll never work again. Yeah, it's kind of the bold word. It's a naughty word.
It was like a dirty little secret that women hid, brushed under the carpet. And our industry can be quite ageist towards women.
Absolutely.
Funnily enough. So, I think that the thought was, oh gosh, don't do that to yourself. It's career suicide. And I just thought, do you know what? So, it's something that women need to know more about. They need to educate themselves so that they can actually manage their symptoms and live a better life. And also, sharing means that because we're talking, we're communicating, we're sharing, we're actually supporting each other. And then women won't be suffering in silence and feeling bad about a natural life stage, Lisa. It's a natural life
It
stage.
is a totally natural life stage. I turned 47, and I suppose in ways, I'm also a new mum, and then I also have my symptoms as well on the side, and it's almost like a bit of a train crash.
Yeah.
It's been tricky for me as well because I didn't know. My mum has passed on. I don't have anybody to ask. Like, Mum, did you get this? Did you get that? How am I feeling? How am I experiencing it? So for you to be able to not only devise the podcast, knowledge is power. So thank you for that. But you've also kind of teamed up with brands and been able to showcase to women. Again, as you said, it's not a naughty word. It's not a taboo subject, but be able to say, look, this is what it is, and everybody's going through it. So here's the information. I found that really valuable. So,
and you see, because I was so young, I'm one of the unfortunate 3% of women that will go through perimenopause in their late 30s. So I was probably about 37, 38. And that's
is that young? Is it? Yeah. Okay.
For perimenopause, it should be 45, certainly after 40 and closer to 45. So because of that, I didn't want to go down the HRT route because I thought I can't be on HRT for 20 years, potentially. So that's why I started then going into the kind of well-being and the kind of more holistic kind of health and supplements, and decided what I'll try and do is do the lifestyle changes, which is proven to work and they're free. So do the right type of exercise, eat the right type of food. Nutrition is key. If you can't get it in your diet, take a supplement. So at least you're ticking that box, and do the well-being bit. So do the taking time out, take time to recharge your batteries and not feel bad about it. So they're the 3 lifestyle things. And then when I started using the supplement that I take, which is Clean Marine Menamin, the reason I started with that, was because it's the only clinically proven supplement on the market. And I thought, it's a minefield out there. So I'm going to go with that.
Well, I would never know. Most people don't know.
And nobody knew back then because nobody was saying anything. Nobody was talking. So I started using it. It started to work. It made a big difference to me. And then I approached them and I said, I want to share my story, but I want to go out on a tour. I want to change Keane on Style, which was my fashion beauty.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember
that I
brilliant.
did, which I loved. But I want to actually now do more of a women's health kind of focus. So they, with my involvement, obviously, because I said, I don't want to just go out and say, you have to go down the natural route. I want to actually have a panel that covers all of these things. So I had an endocrinologist who could talk about the medical side of things.
And she's fantastic.
Oh, Dr. Mary Ryan, amazing.
That's right. Wonderful woman.
Based
in
was
Limerick.
Able to talk, HRT. And then I had the diet nutrition person. I had the exercise person. I had the well-being person, so that we were covering all of the options out there, because you have loads of options. And I just don't think that anybody should just feel that the only option is HRT, because it doesn't have to be,
No, thank you. Because, in ways you think, oh, I'll just do what my friends are doing, or, oh, I'm so tired or overwhelmed. I don't know what to do.
I get that, because I'm the type of person that I don't like suffering. I don't like pain. So if I've got a pain, I take a tablet. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not like anti-medicine, on the contrary, but because I was going through it from such an early age, I needed to find the alternative.
What were your symptoms? Because I'm interested to know what your symptoms are. As I said, I'm 47. I'm attending 50th birthdays now. I'm heading to one in Westport soon. So, all of my friends are experiencing changes in their bodies, whether it's hot flashes or brain fog, which seems to be the big one. Yeah. Very difficult to overcome that. And of course, you go to your GP and your GP goes, here. And you think, oh, okay, well,
and
I'll just take that.
And not one size fits all, because every single perimenopause, menopause experience is unique to you. There are 40 symptoms or more.
Really?
And thank God none of us get all of them.
Oh my God, you wouldn't be able to function. What are some of the biggies? Just if people are listening out there, I'm sure there's lots of women.
Sleep is a huge thing.
Okay.
Lack of
insomnia.
And interrupted sleep. So to get the sleep thing sorted is hugely important, because that's the thing that was my one and only, my first kind of problem, was I was waking 3 to 5 times a night. So then you wake up the next morning, of course you're tired, so you have low energy, you're irritable, you're also down in your mood, so you feel, kind of slightly depressed at times. So all of that stuff, and it has a knock-on effect. Then you've got no libido, because again, you're hardly going to feel amorous if you hadn't slept, for weeks.
100%,
so get the sleep thing sorted. So that's the huge amount of things you can do with that. Again, the exercise, the supplements, the nutrition, and the taking time out for yourself. What you can't and shouldn't do is overstress that little pituitary gland. Lisa, because that's the gland that distributes your hormones all over your body. Now, when that gets burnt out for you not taking the rest, not taking the right amount of small amounts of exercise, not pounding the pavements necessarily for, an hour running down the pier and back, which is what I was doing because my metabolism had slowed down and I was putting on weight. So it's like, I need to burn calories. So that's nonsense. So
Which isn't nice, right?
Yeah.
That's not
If
nice.
it's good for your mental health, do you know what I mean? Fine, go for your run, but do the weight resistance training. We need that for our current and future bone health, muscle mass.
I absolutely agree. And as I've got, I suppose my pregnancy weight's come down a little bit, I'm finding I've lost a lot of muscle mass, which kind of scared me. I thought, well, I'm just going to lose weight. But it's totally different losing weight in my 20s as I have now in my 40s.
Totally. And my girls, I love the fact that this generation of women say to me, it's not about being skinnier, Mom. It's about being stronger.
Yeah.
And we are living longer. So I want to live longer and stronger. So you need to make sure that you're doing all of those things. And sleep is a massive part of that. So make sure during perimenopause or menopause that you've got your room temperature right, that you've got the right kind of, bed clothes, pajamas. So always go for organic cotton. So any of the natural fibres. Hugely
That's
important.
really good.
Yeah. Drink water all day long, but maybe stop drinking water, around dinner time and, give yourself a break. But it's really important to be hydrated during the day. Also, try and have your room a little bit cooler. I have a mattress that is a heat regulation mattress.
I heard about those.
A game changer.
Really?
Again, the same thing. Because it actually, I'm a real cold person. So when I heard about a cooling mattress, I was like, no chance.
Is that the one where it can
I bring
be
a hot
warm
water
or-
bottle into my bed still on a heat regulation mattress. So it keeps my feet warm and the rest of my body. So all of those kind of things. And the information is out there now, So before when I started talking about this, it was actually kind of difficult to find the information.
I remember when you started and I thought, what? But she isn't going through menopause. Why is she talking about? But I didn't know. I didn't realize, that these things can happen earlier.
Because you can still look, like people used to say to me, but like, you don't look menopausal. And I was like, well, thank you, I think. But, we used to think of menopause as the last stage of a woman's life. You were practically old and decrepit.
Yeah.
You were past it.
It's awful to
I was
say
like,
that, but
I don't feel, nor do I think I look old, decrepit or past it. So, as I said to you at the beginning, it's a natural life stage. We go through 5 of them as women in our hormonal journey. There's an amazing little free hormonal Bible, I call it, and it's called The Essential Guide to Female Hormones. You can get it in any health store or pharmacy across the country.
I'll get
you can download it for free on cleanmarine.ie. It is amazing. And that covers the 5 stages of our hormonal journey as women. So my daughters have read it, my mother has read it, and it goes through the whole lot. But in each category of the 5 stages, we have all the experts that are giving you the advice of what you need to do during this natural life stage.
I think men need to read it as well because
my husband has. My husband could do this interview with you, so much at this stage. And he's like, I love him. He's surrounded by hormones in our house.
Oh God, yeah, of course, because he has you and the 2 girls. But it's just that feeling of, sometimes men don't understand that we are changing. We are, maybe our irritability isn't down to the fact that we just are irritable. It's to do with our hormones going crazy.
It's tough being a girl.
It's really
oh my gosh,
hard.
It's never ending, isn't it?
It is. And you've got to keep up as well. Sometimes, you're warm, you're fed up, there's all these different elements that come to it. You haven't slept, maybe you can't remember things when you walk into a room. Sometimes I feel like Elmo from Sesame Street. I go in and I'm like,
I know. Then you get joint pain, you get itchy skin, you get hair loss, I have hormonal breakouts. I have one at the moment.
The
you know what
joys.
I mean? Yeah, the joy.
The
like I was saying to
joys.
Amelia and Romy recently, it's from periods to PMS to perimenopause to endometriosis to, fertility issues to perimenopause to menopause. It's like, good Lord, like it's never ending.
But it's what's lovely, and I know we're going to move on a little bit, but it's just more that sense of it's really lovely that you've broken the barriers, you've changed the mold on it, you've spoken about it, and being such a high profile person and being in the public eye for years and years and years to actually put your flag in the sand and say, here, this happens to everybody.
I don't embarrass easily.
I know you don't. But what's lovely as well is that there's, I think it's a lovely talk track that people can actually not feel ashamed or embarrassed about it coming. And I was actually with somebody recently who was on an endometriosis retreat. And I thought, oh my God, how depressing would that be? But actually, for those that suffer and those that really suffer, who are chronic pain, have had to have, surgery and everything, I felt so sorry for her. And she said, actually, this is something that's great because I can share with other women. I can be with with my tribe who are going through things that I'm going through. She was so chronic
and
that
help each other through it.
Of course, and she had to be on a cane because of the pains. I just had no idea, Lorraine. I had no idea that this is a truism and this happens, because it wasn't happening to me. But you know, one thing that you do in your sport, and I know it's kind of in your local area, is cold sea swimming. And listen, it's all the craze. So many people have done it for years and years. But why do you find the benefits of it? And I know you do it weekly,
the mental health
don't
benefits, because I'm not a strong swimmer. I'm also, up until COVID, I didn't swim really in the sea, because anytime I got into the water and I was out of my depth, I'd just hear the Jaws music in my head.
And there's real seals in there as well.
Oh gosh, something nudge off you.
Better you than me.
Yeah, and I'd say, like, I do the breaststroke. I'm also a cold creature, as I said to you. So I'm the most unlikely sea swimmer. But I did it during COVID because we all did mad things and we couldn't go too far. And I'm very lucky that the sea is on my doorstep. So I tried it out and I literally became addicted overnight. And it was because of the mental health buzz that I got for the rest of the day afterwards. And also the fact that the cold water is supposed to be, it's seemingly scientifically proven to be a balancer. Yeah. So it has helped me with hot flashes and stuff like that. It's kind of balanced me.
I'm in it. I'll come with you. I will come with you someday.
Please do.
I promise.
Now is a good time, because summertime it is that little bit warmer.
Yeah,
as I say, little bit warmer.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done it with friends of mine. One of my friends, sadly, has cancer, breast cancer. So, you know, we've done, you know, swims together. We've, you know, kind of collaborated and all got our gang together and done picnics on the beach, and all in full gusto to be supportive and important to each other. And I think, you know, that's something I'd love to talk to you about, because you have a fantastic group of girlfriends. I know that your friends are wonderful and you all champion each other and you look after them and champion them on social media. How important do you think is that for your own emotional and spiritual well-being, to have a good team around you, your tribe, your good girls, I suppose.
Well, I just love women, because I think we're amazing creatures. I think we go through so much, and I admire us, and for that reason, and I suppose because I have 5 sisters as well. So growing up around women, and then we worked together, and it was nearly a full woman team, certainly front of camera. We were all women on Expose and TV3. And I just love the company of women. I love the company of my male friends, and I've lots of great male friends. But and that's not like a but.
No, I know. But your women are your people. You always speak about your female friends. Anytime I meet you, Deborah Vila, all the people that you love and you care about and you want them to do well. You know, you've always been that way. And not every woman is like that. They don't always support and encourage. And I've never heard you say anything but encouraging words about your friends and me.
But I
just
think we have it hard
else.
enough. Do you know what I mean? We have it so tough as women. So, you know, why would we be cruel or make it any more difficult for each other, on each other? You know, we need to lift each other up. And I think that the reason, so men don't compete with each other and as much as women do, and they tend to lift each other up a little bit more than women do. And I think the only reason that happens is because they're empowered. We're not empowered enough yet. And as a result, some women feel like they have to protect their little space, because, you know, if they got a position within their career, within a company, there weren't that many for the women to start off with.
True.
So they got their seat, and they get very protective of it because they're not empowered. The men are able to be empowered because they can get those positions willy-nilly. It's much easier for them. But the only way for us to get more seats at the table is to give each other that lift up. Do you know what I mean? And help to empower the young women coming up behind us.
Which I always find you've always done. And I just wanted to reflect on, obviously, our days in Expose. You always treated every single one of us, even because you were obviously the helm, you know, always treated us so fairly. And no, absolutely not. You know, when I first came in, I was very nervous because it was, you know, I was meeting Lorraine Keane, you know.
I've been around for a while. Good Lord.
No, but it was lovely to see that you were just so kind and maternal and, you know, gentle with me.
Well, we were all like sisters.
And
We were.
we all, and I think sometimes people ask me, oh, there must have been, there was never any
wasn't.
rivalry.
No,
I
no.
know that some people wanted the story. They wanted to know.
Louis Walsh never believed us. Sure, he didn't. Because he
Did he
worked.
not? I
No,
didn't remember
I
what
met
he
him
said.
recently, and he said it to me again. I was like, "Would you just get over it, Louis? Seriously."
But there was never any
no,
rivalry.
See, he
we were
had
too busy.
rivalry,
we were
within
too
his
busy.
girl bands, and I always said that to him.
Yeah.
And I said, we just were too busy, but we're also so happy to be in the positions that we're in.
Yeah.
We love our jobs. We're passionate about what we do. We
Absolutely.
were kind of the underdogs in TV3, and we had to band together to make it work.
But it
And
was
we
like
did.
a girl band, and I think if I was to describe it now in my mind's eye, because it's a while, it's been 10 years, I suppose, since I was on it. But it's that sense of being a girl band, really. And then I just remember the joy of you always inviting us into your beautiful home and the big Christmas tree
Getting
and
the girls together. I love
you really, really allowed us to be a
Nights out,
family
yeah.
and a friend, in that time. So,
thanks,
that was really lovely. I always remember that. No, there was
lucky to have each
genuinely
other.
We were lucky to have each other. And I suppose I just love to know, because everyone asks me, what was your kind of top moments? I mean, I could list all mine that I enjoyed. Now, you had a career, obviously, right before Expose as well. You were the entertainment correspondent. So, there's a breadth of, I suppose, ones you could cherry pick. And I know you've been asked this question 1,000 times at dinner parties. People probably asked you.
Yeah.
But now I'm asking you, because I actually don't know what your kind of top 2 or 3 moments were. I just don't know.
Any time that I got to interview Bono,
Oh, I remember you saying Bono. Yes.
he's
yeah,
always been
yeah,
number one,
fair
just
enough.
because he's such an amazing man. He's such a talent. He's the biggest rock star in the world. And even though he has a persona and what's perceived as an ego on stage, he has absolutely zero ego in real life. He's a gent. He was always very good to me in my career, always gave me opportunities. And I'd love to think that was just me. He does it for so many people.
Aw,
So he's just a
brilliant.
really good guy and a lovely person to interview and to talk to. I got one amazing experience, which was on the top of the Viacom building in Times Square, where they were performing live. And it was an exclusive for MTV. And I happened to be over there on holidays in New York and had heard they heard I was there, and they got in contact. Paul McGuinness got in contact, and they organised a camera crew for me. So I got to interview Bono and be at the live performance in Times
That's
Square.
awesome.
Oh, it was unreal.
That's awesome.
And
That's like a Beatles moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've been
the
on a
Beatles
few
performed, of course.
They did the
Yeah,
Clarence
yeah,
Hotel
that's
as well. I
right,
was
yeah.
there for that one. And then Paul Newman was probably my second favourite kind of experience, just because it's Paul Newman. And that was in a Porsche, and he was driving while I was interviewing him
That's
around Mondello.
incredible. Because
I
I'm a movie fanatic. So
too.
for you to say Paul Newman now just
And he was
tickles my toes.
78 at the time. And he
Wow.
was still so beautiful. Those eyes. But I was so starstruck, and the noise of the engine was so loud that and he speaks really lowly. He's like a really gentle, low speaking voice.
Really?
So when we got out of the car, he knew himself. I had nothing. I had nothing on the tape. So he said, "Would you like to do it again?" And I was like, "Yes, please."
Wow.
So we went inside and sat down and did the interview again.
And what's your third? I'm just intrigued to know.
What is my third? My third kind of probably most special moment of being in TV3 was the launch of Expose that night.
Oh, that was a great
Wasn't
night.
that so lovely? That
I
was
remember.
so
Can I remember
exciting.
right now? Hold on. You were wearing a beautiful lime green dress. Don't tell me what it was. Preen?
Yes, look at you for memory.
No, I
I'm
can't
so
remember
impressed.
anything.
I'm
So that's really
impressed.
good. I've
And-
no idea what I was wearing. I know it was blue, and I looked kind of, it was like a
Yours
sari
was
type dress.
beautiful,
Yeah.
and actually everybody
curly
looked
hair at the
fabulous.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that dress, I went over to London to buy that dress, and Preen had just started out, and they had this tiny little stall in somewhere like Notting Hill or Portobello or something, and they had 3 of them, and Amy Winehouse had the second one.
Stop.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know
I still
that.
have one of them, and I don't know who has the third one.
Wow.
Yeah, I
I just remember that being such a big, I was a bit overwhelmed because there was so much media there on the day. I mean, I'd
Where
been
was
kind
it?
of cherry
It was
picked.
in the
It was in the
Town
Mansion
Hall,
House.
Mansion House.
Not the Mansion House, sorry. It was
Town
the...
Hall, wasn't it? What's it called?
Yeah.
That lovely one on James Street. What are we like? Can we blame brain fog?
I've serious brain fog, yeah. But I remember there's certain moments in your life and you remember, you're never going to forget that. I remember walking up the stairs and there was camera crews and Irish media, and I hadn't been exposed like that. I'd been working on City Channel before then, and I'd been doing my little thing, and I'd been doing breakfast radio with Ray Shah, and I'd been doing FM 104, and I'd done Nationwide and RT. So I was cherry picked. I had an interview with the brilliant Bob Hughes, who's no longer working in obviously TV3. Many people have moved on, but I remember thinking, oh my God, this is unreal. It was a bit like a Willy Wonka ticket at the time, you know,
it
and
was.
all the glamour. And I thought, God, I better up my stakes here, you know. I don't know where I shopped, but it certainly wasn't Preen and all these places.
Gorgeous.
But it was lovely because, you know, we did have access to lots of lovely dresses and, you know, events and people. And I always cherished that time as a really wonderful time in my life, because you wouldn't normally get to do fun things like interview Brad Pitt and Beyonce and all those things.
And I was there for the very first day of TV3. So to be there as entertainment correspondent, to be there in a startup situation was
that?
Magical as well. That first night going to air, I'll never forget it. And going down, of course, you two were filming a video on Fitzwilliam Square, and that day, and I was told, come back with an interview with the band or don't come back at all.
Well, that's the job of an entertainment.
First night air.
People think it's just all lipstick and shoes. It's not. You got to come back with the story.
And I remember Lindsay Holmes and hollering across the crowd to her. And nobody really even knew who TV3 were at the time. They knew, obviously, because the launch had been the night before on the Sunday, and this was the Monday night. And but they didn't really rate us too much because it was the first commercial TV station in Ireland. So I remember hollering, and she was like, not a chance. It's like, they're not giving any interviews to anybody, Lorraine. You can have Boyzone, you can have what's the boxer. There was
Chris Eubank, was it?
No.
No.
There were loads of people in their video for The Sweetest Thing. Which is still a song that gives me so much.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, I remember it was a horse and cart going through Merrion Square, wasn't it? Yeah. God, I've such a
And they were
bad
doing that
memory.
video in one take. So
That's
she
right,
was
I
like,
remember.
you're not getting in the way of this. No chance, no interviews.
You were there that day?
So I kept, every time they'd get out of their car to do a part of the video, I'd keep shouting. I was like, I don't know what I was like.
I don't know this story.
Yeah,
this
so
is
then
good.
finally, I remember Larry Mullen kind of turned around because he heard me. I was going, it's Lorraine Keane from TV3. We're brand new. It's our first night in there, please. And I kept saying the same thing over and over again. Anyway, the car drove off. And I was like, it's too late. So I'm walking back to the car with the cameraman, and my phone rings, and it's Lindsay Holmes. And she says, I don't know how you did it, but they're on their way back. And who got out of the car to do the interview? The one person that never did interviews in U2, Larry Mullen.
No, Larry Mullen.
Yeah, because Edge and Bono would do them quite often, and Adam even. But Larry was always really, really camera shy, and he got out and he did the interview with me.
Well, that just shows.
Oh, and I remember sitting in the car with the cameraman. He was driving us back to the station, and I had the tape on my lap. And I remember just holding it with my two hands going, I got it.
But
I
you
get
know
to
what?
keep my job.
Those are the moments that I think maybe people might like to know. They're the moments that when you do get the story or you get access to somebody and you actually get something slightly different to the verbatim that they churn out on junkets or whatever. It's really special moments. You kind of feel that you did
What a privilege
good.
to have that job, though.
Yeah.
What a privilege to have that job.
And continuing on, because I mean, your work has been vast. You know, you've worked with so many different channels and Sky and RTE, and we're all still around, which is lovely. And you know, media's a tough game, right? So you know, you always have to be on your toes, and we always have to curate and I suppose peddle our wares a little bit.
As
and
Louis always said, you're a grafter.
Yeah, a grafter.
You've always been a grafter.
And it's important because
I take that as a compliment.
Again, you know, like you would say it openly, we have to be hustlers in the industry of media because it isn't always, you know, comparative to other media industries. It's a very small contained
Yeah, and I think when you
spot.
say the word grafter and hustler, those words can be misconstrued to be something that's a bit aggressive. And I think it's really important to say that you and I have never been that person. And I'd say it to my girls, I've been saying to them since they could, you know, hear me, since they were teeny weeny, a smile and good manners will get you through, and being kind. You know, I've never had to be nasty. I've never had to do things. I remember being asked to doorstep somebody in a situation, a very sad situation that happened in the entertainment industry while I was entertainment correspondent in the early days of TV3, and I was asked to doorstep the parents of this boy, this young man, and I refused to do it. and I got into huge trouble, and I got a mark. Personnel call me in, so
dear.
got a stamp on my file. And to this day, I'm so proud that I didn't do it. So you need to have integrity
Yeah.
and be kind. You don't have to be nasty to be successful.
But you also have to do things that align with your morale and your moral compass and what is right for you. Because if it's not right for you, you step away. But, you've been incredibly empowering again. I want to talk about your charity work. I mean, there's so much we can talk about. We're never going to squish it all in. But you've been, I've seen you in shoots and VIP. I've seen you, working with Trocra, working with Oxfam.
Yeah.
Please just delve into that a little bit for me, because that's really special. It's a really wonderful thing.
Well, that was something that I always said I would do when I had more time, but working full time with 2 small children, I didn't. So I was kind of using it as an excuse a bit, because I had the fear of God of ever going over to the developing world, because I knew it would be a traumatic experience.
Of course,
they're not
naturally.
nice places to be. So I, and I genuinely was busy. I was working 6 days a week. So, but then when I took the time out to be with the girls and became freelance and self-employed, I didn't have the excuse anymore. So then suddenly I was like, okay, now you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And pity about you, so it is going to be upsetting. It's not the nice content that you're used to in the entertainment industry.
How does it work? I mean, you affiliate with obviously a charity. Did they say we'd like you to come?
I offered myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
I always did. Yeah.
Right.
So, and I spread the love. So I did a few years with Trocra. I did a few years with World Vision Ireland, and I did a few trips with Oxfam. So
where did you go? Haiti being one?
Haiti, just 9-10 months after the earthquake. So 96% of the rubble was still there, untouched. So it was like as though the earthquake had happened the day before, Lisa. It was the saddest. I always said it was the saddest little place on earth. The most beautiful people that just through no fault of their own happened to be in a position on the global map that means that they are just, vulnerable to all sorts of, climate change and natural disasters. Like they're attached to the Dominican Republic, like literally attached, but that side of the island is fine. It's just exactly where Haiti is positioned. They get all the hammering. So completely not their fault. And that's why I say to people, we shouldn't have a choice of whether to give to charity, to people in the developing world. On our side of the globe, we're actually doing most of the damage, when it comes to climate change, and they're doing all of the suffering. So I don't think when we're so privileged and so lucky, and I know there are times when we've all struggled a bit financially, it's a totally different type of poverty. So I don't think we have any right to say, oh, I'm not going to give. We should all.
Of your time.
I think it should be taken out of our salaries.
But you
personally,
well,
yeah,
it's
I do.
it's
A
very
very
good
small
point.
amount that we will not miss will make a massive difference in the developing world. So I've been to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Guatemala, Tanzania, Bangladesh, Haiti, Somalia, Ethiopia.
I didn't know you went that far. As in,
I've
you were
done
that extent.
10 trips as a volunteer
As a
with
volunteer in
different
capital
charities to spread the love, because they're all doing amazing work.
Would you do more?
I'm doing one next year. I'm going back to Zimbabwe and a different part for a charity that I haven't travelled with, but I have done their fundraising. So I host an event for them every October in the Mansion House. They're called the Mustard Seed, and they're a very small charity, but they do huge work. So they build orphanages and schools. So it's mostly about education, and educating girls actually as well is a huge part of what they
It's just
do, so.
inspiring because my mother went to my mother was a school teacher. She taught English, French and German. She went to Cameroon as a missionary moons ago, maybe when I was about 18. And I've always said, now I have done treks in Brazil for Barrettstown, because my mother obviously passed with cancer. So I do feel like it's an amazing thing to do, not only for those who are going to obviously benefit from the money that you raise or do, but it's also the awareness that you bring, because no matter what anyone says, you have a public profile, and be able
And I've no ulterior motive. Do you know what I mean? I'm a volunteer. So I'm literally just coming back and sharing what I saw. And because of you and I being very lucky to have the jobs that we have a voice and we have contacts in the industry. So, when I ring Matt Cooper or, anybody, Claire Byrne, and say, will you have me on to talk about this?
Yeah.
They
Usually
will.
they'll
They
say
give me the
yes.
space,
Yes,
and then
good.
the fundraising goes up. So, we've seen that, like, it does work. because without the awareness, it's very easy for us to kind of turn a blind eye, you know, because we're all very busy. And
I know. And I think to myself, I need to go to the Cameroon. I'd love to honour that with what my mum did. But, you know, when you're speaking about everything that you've done, I'm thinking to myself, yes, I need to do something next year.
Yeah.
I suppose I've just had a baby, so there's a lot going on there. But I definitely feel it's something we should all do. It should be part of either a curriculum in school, or it should be other, because really and truly what you see and what you do are two totally different things. And I think once you're there and you see it, and I remember my mother coming back so affected and strongly advocating that I go there, which I never did, sadly. But
you will.
I will.
It is life changing. It is life changing.
Indeed. It's lovely to hear that you're continuing that work and all that you do.
I just don't feel like I have a choice. If I can continue to help to raise money by creating awareness, then I don't think I have a choice. And I was going to say, hey, I actually do. I don't look forward to it at all.
Well, for sure, because what you see there
but
is
once you get
very
there, Lisa,
dark.
You literally, you hit the ground running. You know, you're there for a week. I'll never go for more than 10 days. And you're kind of going, okay, get over yourself now. It's not about you. You know, you just need to do the best job you can do for these people.
When you get home, because I think my mother was so affected when she came back, and I suppose I was away when I was working and did work with Barrettstown, although I'm ashamed to say it's so long ago now, right before my mum had cancer. How do you feel when you walk through your doors and you have a beautiful home, you know, privilege versus kind of peasantry? How do you feel hugging the girls and
poverty.
hugging Peter as well?
Well, I suppose that's why I started Fashion Relief, because I came back from Bangladesh.
Because I was dying to ask you about that. Yeah.
So Bangladesh was a trip where I was visiting the factories. So visiting the women that are not earning a living wage. And what that means is they don't have money for medication, for proper accommodation, to even see their children. So the women are the ones that get the jobs in the factories. So they're working, and they're factory workers. They're not being paid enough so that they can't go home, you know, to see their children more than maybe once a year. They're living in slums, and they're creating the fast fashion that we're consuming. So when I went to the factories, went to the slums, interviewed the women, and I came back, and then looking at my lovely walk-in wardrobe that we were talking about, that I saved for years to get, and
but you
absolutely love it.
That.
Yeah, but even still, I just looked around me and I was like, good Lord, I mean, some of us have way too much stuff. And I did, because of things that I'd gathered over the years of my career, things that I was gifted, things that I could get a discount. So you end up, you know, buying or whatever. Yeah. And I just thought, if I was to sell half my wardrobe, you know, I could probably make, you know, thousands. And I could send that to one of the projects that I've just visited in Bangladesh. Imagine the difference that would make. I mean, you could live on €5 for a month in these countries, you know? So I thought, this could make a massive difference, and I don't need this stuff. And then people were saying to me, what about the girls though? You know, when you've got 2 daughters. And I thought to myself, they won't need this, and they mightn't even want it. And then it'll be out of date. And anyway, they need to earn their own, you know, buy their own stuff and create their own little wardrobe, whatever. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to do it. So I started talking to people in the business, in our industry, and people like yourself and you and everybody else said, yes, I will give you some pieces. So it started with an event in the RDS. And then we went from the RDS to Cork, from Cork to Galway, from Galway to Limerick. And that was in the second year. And it was growing. And then COVID happened. So then it went online. So because of the skill set that TV3 gave us, that we gave out about at the time, because they made us do everything.
We could edit, we could produce,
direct, script write, research, everything.
Do our makeup. We're like Dick Van Dyke. I remember Aisling always saying to me, she was like, do you not remember your Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins?
You can do the whole lot. At the same time.
Like, well, that's a
band.
It's a good man skill to have.
Yeah,
for sure.
So anyway, I started producing and presenting and editing a little TV show in my house every Friday during COVID called Fashion Relief TV. Yeah. And that was because of Accionista, a very small Irish tech company at the time, who designed and created a piece of software that had never been done before for free, which would have cost probably about 80,000 at the time. Wow. But they wanted to do their bit for charity. And it meant that you could watch Fashion Relief TV at 7:00 every Friday and literally shop at the same time. So you press the screen.
I tuned in.
Into
I was
your trolley.
I was buying too much though.
Into your trolley, yeah. So it just meant that the piece that we had that we couldn't do in events, public events anymore, we're selling every month for the charity. So we continued to raise money for Oxfam, which was great throughout COVID. And then I got a shop, a boutique, and it was a pop-up. But it was
So in
popping up.
Blackrock, wasn't
yeah,
it, in
in
Dublin,
Frascati.
yeah.
And it was popping up, popping down, popping up, popping down, all the way to, the opening and closing of COVID. And now it's a permanent fixture. So we decided to spread the love and changed benefactor to Breast Cancer Ireland 18
Thank
months
you.
ago.
That's very nice because my friend is, yeah.
I know, and we've all got,
We all have
good Lord,
to.
we've all been touched by breast cancer in some way, shape or form, unfortunately. So, and the women who shop in Fashion Relief and the women who donate pieces from their own wardrobes, it was the right demographic. So in 18 months with Breast Cancer Ireland, we've raised €414,000
Wow.
in 18 months. And that's
That's
all just
remarkable.
pieces that women aren't wearing anymore, don't want anymore. Designers give me their samples, boutiques and wholesalers give me their unwanted sales stock. So we've stuff in there with labels on and everything. And it's all created so beautifully by myself, Marie and Michelle, my two fabulous women volunteers. And yeah, all the money goes to Breast Cancer Ireland. So it's been
Well,
incredible.
you
And
know-
it's sustainable and it's pre-loved. So it's
Absolutely.
guilt-free shopping.
It's
You're
guilt-free
saving
shopping.
people and planet.
Well, the funny
Win-win.
thing is, we are wrapping it up, which is it breaks my heart because I feel like we haven't even had we need a whole other bottle of wine for this podcast.
This is not Lorraine and Lisa, the podcast. This is Lorraine and Lisa, the movie.
The movie, yeah. We need 2 hours. And, it just, I think everybody, including myself, because we haven't had a chance to have a coffee in quite some time or a catch up in quite some time, that, you have a heart the size of the Atlantic Ocean. Your work has never stopped. It's been tireless because although you're still in entertainment, obviously we see you in RT and on the Today Show, I see you down in Cork and you're everywhere. I mean, you do so many different things, but, you're steadfast. I think your bedrock now is women's health and wellness, but also, charitable causes and working with women, young women particularly. And, that's really inspirational and admirable,
Thanks, Lisa.
And long may that continue, I mean, finally, my question is, what's next? You're always pushing the juggernaut. You'll always move forward. So what will we see next?
But a bit like you, I don't actually really ever have a plan. I just have always followed my passion. And whatever makes me feel good and things that I'm passionate about, even the brands that I work with.
Well, you orbit around fashion a lot, which is lovely.
Yeah, but
you've
I
always done
only
that.
want to promote the products, the service, the brands that I genuinely love and that I use and do myself. And I only want to work with nice people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've always done. And I think that's why I've been around as long as I've been around, because it's authentic. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you have to be authentic in the industry that we're in because otherwise nobody will.
And an Irish audience are so savvy. They see through the fake so quick. Gladly.
Do you still like Instagram? Because I can't do it
Yes,
so well.
I
You were good
know.
up there. She was definitely doing some.
That's because I want to promote this when it's coming out, you see.
Oh, yeah. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
No, I do. And Instagram has been really good for me for work. Again, to be able to promote the things that I love and that I'm passionate about. And also to share things, share my experiences and share the ups and downs of being a woman daily.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been good for that. And I also love switching off sometimes and just...
Well, I see like a behind the scenes, I see a book, I see so many different things. I know you've already had a book out, but you're doing so many different elements, I think, to you, Lorraine, that will never stop giving and never stop sharing.
Hopefully we'll always be working. We'll always be wanted.
We will. We will. We might do a Lorraine and Lisa podcast. I think that's on the cards.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll curate that.
Oh my God, that'd be a Netflix series because it wouldn't be just one. It'd be like episode 5.
I don't think we'd even need a guest.
They're
for
still
that one.
talking.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us on Spotlight. Listen, it's a joy. There's never a
And congratulations
sense of it
to you for everything, for being such a gorgeous person, beautiful inside and out, and for all of your success. Because you are also a very inspiring human being.
Thank you very much. I love you dearly, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Give us a hug. Jesus.
That's it.